Okay, so let's do a little editing. Yeah, with either readings, it's going to be either reading. So with either reading, even both readings. Yeah, with either reading or even both readings, Alexander Pope tends to be using a ratio of 10 to 1, meaning that there are either 10 bad reviews for every one bad book written. I don't even need meaning. You don't say or until that's split, right? Meaning that there are either blank for every blank, or that there are 10 bad working critics for every one bad working author. In essence, this aggressive assailing. Assailing. So you assail somebody who's talking smack. Now you're talking smack. Aggressive assailing of the critic, and again, a little bit of alliteration as compared with the author. I'm so pleased with my. I mean, it's a lot of fun, and also it's just nice to to really connect with the grader. I mean, to really connect with your teacher. I mean that most of these guys and gals just they put so much effort out there. I mean, it's really. I mean, I'm sure so much ink has been spilled about this, but you know, um, from from when you're a little kid all the way up. I mean, it's hard work. You got to be on all the time, and it doesn't pay extremely well. It pays. Some of the jobs are a little bit more cushy than others, depending on the grade, school, etc. Grade level, etc. But it's not. You got to be on all the time. It ain't easy. So, you really want to be sort of in that dialogue of why they're glad to be there. So it's sort of a communication thing. It's not only about you and your grades and your future. It's also about a communication thing. I'm gonna reward good behavior. Even though I'm just a kid, I'm gonna reward good behavior. Like I'm gonna reward if I've got this good teacher that's showing up to work every day and throwing us good effort. I want to keep this person, happy. I don't know. I'm sure I wasn't that sophisticated in terms of my thought process. I was only thinking about doing well, but a lot of it had to do with just sort of being a little bit of a show off. Also, like, let me show this teacher how bright I am, how hard I'm working, how good I can perform. Like it was a little bit of a show off thing. So, um, the most important piece of guidance, that I would recommend is whatever motivates. I'm not of the belief that only positive things should motivate. If fear motivates, I mean some of the most happy, well-adjusted, stoic, and or successful people in the world were motivated by fear. Um, maybe they grew up in the Great Depression, or maybe their parents grew up in the Great Depression, or their grandparents, or they grew up in, they have a family that were in the Holocaust, or it's, that they, there's just, it's really all about the individual. I'm really a big proponent of the individual, and I think that an individual knows what their limit is, an individual knows what they're good at, an individual knows where their inclinations are. So if you as an individual enjoy showing off in other parts of your life, then it'd be kind of fun to show off in your academic life. If you're more driven by fear, fear of poverty, then that might compel you to work extremely hard. Or maybe that's in your household, But again, this is all this isn't to drive you guys to work harder than your sanity allows. This is just saying that if there's a mile of slack between your current effort and the effort and perhaps outcome that you could be getting, then why not try to close that chasm, substantially. So, but yeah, so hopefully this educator, whoever's reading this, would say, you know what, that's a good start, and I'm going to give this some credit. Um, Hopefully they don't see it as a cop out, but it's risky. It's very risky for saying, oh, it could be this or it could be that. Usually, if it's like a word, like we're going to talk about that when we say compass. We're going to talk about it could be compass, as in like the compass, geography compass, or encompass, and both of those could mean this and this and that. So I'm gonna kind of hint at that, and that I think is an educator would give that a little bit of like kudos, like good analysis, good it's a reach that makes sense, and it's a reach that that they can tell you're trying. You really get an A for effort, I think, also from a lot of these educators in English, history as well. With different sources and what source is saying it, and are they reputable, are they verified, are they are they edified, do they have could they be lying? I mean, if you're like really trying to come at the analysis with some sophistication, you're generally going to get a little bit of credit. If you're just trying to be very, functional and just gloss over stuff and just do the minimum amount of work, they're going to sort of feel it. So that's why I really wanted to do these videos, because I really want you guys to feel that everything is thought out. Everything is pretty well thought out with regards to essay writing. And that's, I think, the best way to approach writing a high quality essay. Um, so yeah, as compared with the other, yeah. So I mean, and that's clear. So yeah, so we deleted this. So let's work on the next one. If you more closely, we should find most have the seeds of judgment in their mind. I think they're talking about critics the whole time. And those there are who judge still worse than he can write. And we've got to say that. That actually makes a really strong point. Because the first two lines, most what? It's not super clear. And we could try to argue it, but the teacher might say, well, it's not obvious exactly who he's talking about. I mean, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. Maybe I'm missing it, but I think he's talking about most critics. But he could be talking about like most people in general have the seeds of judgment in their mind. So, if they become critics, since they're going to be judges anyways, then they're going to, yada yada. So that's not really as harsh in terms of maligning the critic. It's maligning people in general, and then those people become critics. So it's like 1 degree removed or 1 step removed. So that's not as strong. But if you can put the first 2 lines of this stanza and say, okay, it seems like he's referring to the critic, most critics. We'll try to make that leap. Maybe we'll get knocked off for it. Like, nah, that's not obvious. But then if we mention the last line of the stanza, there are who judge still worse than he can write. And that makes it pretty clear. The beginning and the end of that stanza, he's talking about the critic. So we can argue that since he's mostly talking about the critic, he's talking about seeds of judgment, in search of wit, lose their common sense, and then turn critics in their own defense. Yeah, this might be a little bit about the writer. The first 2 here and the last one, those are the ones I want to write about. Now, there are who judge still worse than he can write. So he's saying there are some who judge still worse than he can write. So, I think this is strong. However, let's look around. So we've got critic help. He's giving that. He's giving the advice. Here he exalts the author. Bling. What is his conclusion? Let's get this out of here. Let's delete this. And move here. Let's delete our sense. There's a lot there. There's a lot. In every work, whoever's a faultless, he gives the critic help. Yep, I think we need that. I mean, I'm guessing it's going to be about 5 pages based on what we've got here. I don't want to write 4. I want to write at least 5, like a solid 5. It might be a little more, actually. I mean, if we're looking, let's just look. So if we're going here, and we grab this, we go to format, and we go to spacing, we go to double. Let's see how long it is. Yeah, it's about a full page. Yeah, I think we could stretch this. I don't think this is going to be our greatest paragraph, but I think we could stretch it. All right, so we'll do the next paragraph in the next video. Thank you.